Okay, I wanted to jump on and kind of walk you through Aisle Planner. There have been a lot of upgrades and a lot of additions to the platform in the last few years. So I wanted to kind of do an updated tutorial for you just to walk you through all of the different features so that hopefully you can utilize everything throughout the wedding planning process. So right here, this is your wedding. Your planner will have already input your wedding date, names. And so this is going to be sort of like your dashboard. I'm going to go line by line through the top. First is the checklist. And once you click on the checklist, you should be able to look at the full checklist, and you can look at it either by due date or by category. So right now it's set by due date, so 12 months, 9 to 12 months, all leading up until the wedding day, obviously, with things that are done, 12 months in advance versus like things that are going to be more time sensitive when it gets closer to the wedding date. Or you can change it by category if this makes more sense to you, which getting started in the wedding planning process, guest list, budget financial, bride's checklist, so on. So however, basically it makes more sense to you, works. And then I like to always press hide completed. I don't really care about seeing things once they're completed after you check them off. So if you just kind of start checking things off here, you will notice if that's checked that they'll just kind of disappear. And then if you go back to your home page and the home dashboard, throughout the planning process, as you check things off, you'll be able to see right here where it says planning process, how much of the planning process you have finished. And I like that because it can kind of show you where you're at in the planning process and let you know, I guess, how much you have left to go. If you go over to the calendar, this is something that you can choose to use or not. This is something that you can integrate with like your Google Calendar. You can add important wedding planning dates on here, or you can just use your regular Apple or Google Calendar, whatever you choose to use. But if you look right here, the little arrow, you can use this and copy this URL in whatever your favorite calendar application is, and then it'll kind of integrate. The timeline is our job as the planner to create your wedding day timeline. However, I like to release this to our clients just because I want our clients to kind of see where we're at. Let us know if they have any questions. So you can see this when I've gotten started with the ceremony, cocktail hour, as well as the sunset time. But this is kind of going to be your planner's responsibility. But I do like the clients to be able to see what's going on. And as the wedding day gets closer, we will have a meeting to go over the timeline for the wedding day, get this finalized so that it can be sent out to vendors and everyone the week of the wedding. Design Studio, I kind of like to think of this as Aisle Planner's Pinterest, if you will. So you can get super detailed here and you can add style guides. Let's say beauty, and we'll just call this hair and makeup. If you want to create a style guide, you can go ahead and maybe you're uploading, inspiration for hair and makeup here. Add that right there. Once it's uploaded, you can actually take notes. You can make notes on it right here and say something like, I like her hair, not the highlight, or something like that. Whatever you want to put, you can make notes on every single photo or none at all. So another idea for style guides would be, your bouquet inspiration. And then you can go ahead and send these specific style guides. You can share the link by email, or you can preview and print them to bring to meetings with you. So if you wanted to maybe create like a bouquet style guide, you could send that over to your florist. You can also go into color palettes right here, and you can create a wedding color palette. So whatever vibe or whatever style, whatever color palette you're going to go with, you can find over here. So we are going to, let's say we want purple. I'm going to click on the color purple and I'm going to add it into my wedding color palette. You can make different color palettes. Maybe you have a bouquet palette, you have a rehearsal dinner night palette. So you can create different palettes. It doesn't have to be just for the wedding specifically. Let's say we wanted to add peach. I know this sounds wild, but I'm just kind of showing you guys. So you can go ahead and put that over here as well. If you wanted to just maybe save a bunch of colors to play around with them, you can just go up here. So you can save a bunch of different colors, maybe play around with what you like, don't like. You can delete stuff as well if you don't like it. Okay. We are going to move over to the guest section, which super important. This is where you are going to add your guests into your guest list. This is where you're going to manage RSVPs. This is where you are going to manage meal selections if you have. And then you're going to be able to place everyone that's on your guest list into a floor plan or a seating chart that you'll end up passing to your venue manager or whatever venue you are working with. So what you're going to want to do is click add guests and then go to import guest list. It's super, super important that you download the aisle planner templates from the very beginning and you start using these to curate your guest list. Because what you're going to do, I'm going to pull up a template. There's a quick video that we're going to be sending you as well in an email that will explain why it's important to use these correctly, because once you upload it, everything gets put into aisle planner super nicely, super organized. It's great. So right here is where you'll add your guests, et cetera, et cetera. So you can do this on your own time. And then once it's saved, you will go ahead and upload it right here. Let's say it's saved, and then it will actually automatically import everything right here into aisle planner, and it makes it super, super easy. So what you can do is you also could manually add guests right here. You don't have to use the Excel spreadsheet. I find most people do, but let's just say you wanted to add someone manually right here. You can. Okay, so you can make them A-list, B-list, C-list if you have that. You can check right here if your invites have been sent. Right now, we're just going to say they haven't. And right here, you can basically say if they're going to be invited to the ceremony and reception, or maybe you're having, very small ceremony and you only want to invite them to the reception. You can kind of change that up right there. If we go to RSVP summary, actually, I'm going to go over one more thing in ceremony reception. If you go to info, event info and options right here, once you start tracking your RSVPs, it'll kind of show you right here who's been confirmed, who you're waiting on, all of that. Right here, you can add different meal options. So let's just pretend we're having beef, chicken, and fish, or you can delete it, only have 2 options. This is obviously only if you're having meal options that people are going to have to choose, not a set menu. So we'll put that there. And then we will go over to the RSVP summary. And then when you are tracking your RSVPs, you can go in here and check off what everybody is going to be having for dinner. This is something that your catering manager is obviously going to need prior to the wedding day. So what you'll do once everything is checked off and you have all your RSVPs, just go over here and you can quickly download the RSVP summary, pass that off to your venue manager. They will be so happy that you are so organized and you have everyone's meal suggestions or meal preferences, sorry. Right here, you are actually able to, this is a newer feature, you can send messages to your guests if you have their email addresses included in the guest list spreadsheet that you've uploaded, or if you've done it manually, you can actually request RSVPs. So maybe you have those guests that just have an RSVP, you're waiting, you don't want to send a text, you can specifically send them, okay, we need your online RSVP when you need them to reply by, and then send the message. It'll get automatically sent to them, and they can actually click the message in RSVP through Aisle Planner. It'll get updated automatically into the system, and then you just don't get your paper RSVP back. But some people, I feel like, are lazy these days and forget to send them in. So moving on, I'm going to go over the layout and seating. So this is going to be, the layout is going to be a great feature if you're not working with a venue that already takes care of the floor plans for you. If you're working with venues that give floor plans often, you're probably not going to have to make one yourself. Typically, the venue managers are going to make that for you. If you're working at maybe a private event space or a backyard, and you're not going to be getting this from your venue coordinator, then you're going to want to create your own floor plan, which is a really cool feature that Aisle Planner has. So down here you have, okay, we're going to go over to seating. And basically here, we've already told them how many tables that we want and how many guests we want to each. That was, I've already set that up prior. But you can add tables here. One table, you can designate how many seats you want, and we're going to add that. So that's down at the end. You can actually name the tables. Maybe you're naming them after, favorite movies or months of the year, anything that you guys may be naming your tables, you can change the name here. Or you could say family table, something like that. Right here, which is really cool, you'll see all of the guests that have RSVP'd for the wedding over on this side. So when you get to the point where you are figuring out where your guests are going to be seated, this is easy and super fun because you can play around with it. So here is Jackie. Here's Lucas. And then as you can see over here on the other side, they have a check mark, meaning they're already at a table. You don't have to worry about them. So let's say we want to put Emily at table 5. She's checked off over here as well. And the guest of Emily Reno is someone that still has to be put at a table. Once everyone's done and they're at tables, you're going to go ahead and push the little arrow right here, download the seating, and you're going to want to print this out again and hand this off to your venue manager, or your wedding coordinator is also going to keep a copy of this just in case guests are confused when it comes time to find their table for the reception. Over here, you can see that if you wanted to add a new layout, you could do a ceremony layout as well if you wanted. This has all of those capabilities. So if we wanted to drag and drop a table, sorry, I'm trying to figure this out. You can drag and drop the tables over here, move them around. There's ways you can add other items like, let's see, dance floor. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, so if you go down to the library, you can just kind of see all of the different things that can be added. You can play around with this, different chairs. There's a chair. If you have a sofa, we're going to make a lounge area. You can do that as well. And then you can actually change the sizing of things above. You can rotate them, flip them, whatever you need to do to make a really, really great floor plan. But you can see down here, there's tons of different things. And again, this is only if you are working at a venue that does not provide this for you. Okay. Moving on to the contact section, which in my opinion is one of the most important aspects of Aisle Planner. What you're going to be doing in the contact section is adding contacts or vendors as you book them, as well as your venue. So let's say we hired Susie and Will. I'm just going to pretend they're one of our preferred vendors, so it's already saved in there, but I'm just going to pretend it's not. Okay. So planning category, this is a photographer, and then we're going to say, yes, this client is, or this contact is booked. You could put all of your potential vendors in here while you are still in the phase where you're kind of figuring out who your vendors are and who you're hiring. You can do that as well. But once you've booked certain vendors, you're going to want to delete anyone that's not a booked vendor just to kind of get them out of the way. Okay, so right here, we're going to click on the vendor, and the main information that you're going to want to include is the vendor's first and last name. You're going to want to include their phone number and email address. Right here in this section, right here in the comment section, you will want to drag whatever formal contract you have in place that you've signed, download that to your computer. You can just quickly drag that over, and then it saves. Your wedding planner is going to want to reference all of these contracts to make sure that everything you think that you ordered or signed aligns with what you're going to need. You know, maybe you only hired a photographer for 4 hours of coverage, and your wedding planner is like, oh my gosh, you know, that doesn't really work with what you had in mind for the timeline. So you can kind of go back and go over those sorts of things. If you are a full service client, this is something that your wedding planner will be inputting on your behalf. So down here, we said that they're booked. There's any random notes you want to talk about, or maybe there's things that you talked about that weren't on the contract. You can make little comments here and just add them into that section. Over here, the contact sheet. This will be very comprehensive, obviously, once all of your venues and vendors are in place. You can add their social media tags right here, add social links so that the vendors have that and know who to tag on the wedding day. But that will be something that your wedding planner will want to have on hand. And this is a contact sheet that you'll probably want to keep on hand yourself, maybe give to your partner, or maybe your maid of honor, best man, very important people who may need to contact anyone on the wedding day. Okay, now we are going to go over to the budget and manage categories. I'm actually going to pull up another client really quick because this one we have locked out, so just give me a second. Okay, so we are going to go up and manage the categories. So this event has a $13,000 budget. You can see up here, we're going to change the budget. And then this is different than what we had inputted in the original settings, which you can change as well. But it's saying right here, we are, we have an extra $16,000 to spend. If you made it 13,000 again, you can see that we've spent $700 too much. That's why it's red. But you can go up here and sort of adjust these categories. Let's say you only paid $100 for an officiant. You can lock that in so it's not adjustable. Or maybe you hired a friend and it's $0. You can kind of play around with the budget that way. You can delete things that maybe don't make sense for your wedding. Maybe you're not having favors. So let's just delete that off of the budget entirely. So you can go in here and play with your budget and kind of allocate money where, it's most important to you. Again, if you're a full service client, this is something that your planner will be taking care of, and you guys will be having budget meetings throughout the wedding planning process to make sure you're on track. But if you are a client managing your own budget, then this is a very cool tool. Again, everything is downloadable as Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, all of those things. If you wanted to go in right here, you can see specifically that you can add things specific, like maybe you have shoes under the bride. If you really want to get super detailed, you can. You can do invoices if you wanted to track your invoices here, if you're not tracking it in another app, or you want to make sure and track payments, you can do that as well in Aisle Planner. Okay, another feature, if you go to the contact page right here, at the bottom, you can track payments, which can be really helpful as far as reminders on when things are due. Right here, you can adjust the payment amounts. You can manually enter them in. And then you can also set reminders on when things are due, as well as check off if they've been paid or not. Okay. Since we've gone over the budget, we're going to go over to the note section. We have already uploaded some really great note templates, and I always like our clients to kind of explore this thoroughly and just see what might be helpful for you. We have a tipping guide. We include marriage license information guide on how to get your marriage license. Welcome to Aisle Planner, how to navigate it. First look, is that right for you? We have a packing and detail list that we want you to fill out. This is also a great place if you want to take notes on maybe wedding meetings that you've had. Maybe you have a tasting and you bring your computer, or you want to upload notes. This is a great place to, put tasting notes or something like that. So you can add photos as well, but great way to keep all of your wedding notes in one place. We also keep our preferred list of vendors in the note section. If you are looking for vendors that maybe are not included in the note section, maybe you have a, request that isn't common, just let us know and we'll be happy to send you recommendations on that or contact information on who you can reach out to. The wedding website is somewhat of a newer feature. I know there are so many different wedding website hosts out there. There's The Knot, Zola, whatever. This is essentially very similar. So you're free to use whatever wedding website if you already have one, that's fine. But here you can publish your wedding website once you have filled everything out, and you can actually create your own URL, and it'll tell you if it's available or not. So you can create a custom URL and start creating your wedding website here. And another really cool thing about having a wedding website through Aisle Planner is that your guests can actually RSVP on the wedding website if that's something you're interested in doing. They can RSVP directly on the website and it gets integrated into the guest list section of Aisle Planner. So I think that kind of goes over everything briefly. If you have any other questions that are more in depth, or you want some extra help on how to navigate Aisle Planner and use this throughout the wedding planning process, please let us know. We can jump on a phone call or a Zoom with you, and we would be absolutely happy to help. I hope this helps everyone, and congratulations and happy planning.